we're gonna try this again and again because my internet is not having a good evening, and it's throwing everything off, including my concentration on this. So we're gonna try it one last time, and hopefully it works. If not, then I probably will just videotape this one and upload the rest of this meal. We are doing a high protein meal that includes a Lux variation. In this case, we are going to include a high protein appetizer as well. Hey Bonnie, let me know if this is working now. I've kind of switched the network, so we'll see. But I am here to finish this meal and show you guys just how easy it is to still enjoy a meal that you will normally get at a restaurant at your home and make it absolutely delicious. Thrifting Atlanta, thank you. Let me know if I'm coming over loud and clear and if there are no issues right now, because I feel like the internet is not or my network would not let me be great. In the meanwhile, what I have finished, especially if you saw the first part, is this. We are finishing up our appetizer, and these are stuffed peppers. And these peppers they're stuffed with cottage cheese and some feta cheese, sprinkled with a little bit of oregano, and there's some thyme in here. And all we need to do is pop this in the oven, and this would be a really easy appetizer that is, 1, nutritious, 2, high protein, 3, low calories. So the oven has been preheated, and I'm just gonna pop these in the oven so we can get working and try to finish up our dinner, which is the second part of this. Now, as I mentioned, for dinner tonight, we are going to have some not lobster. I think maybe we should have that tomorrow. But we're gonna have some filet mignon and lamb. And so we're gonna put that on top of these roasted red peppers. So I made these last night, and I'm just gonna put these back in the oven to get them nice and crisped up. So I'm gonna just grab a baking dish, and I'm gonna put those in here. So as I mentioned, I did these last night already. So putting them back in so they could be reheated in the oven and get some color going on them. So here they are. Francisco, thank you for joining. Appreciate you jumping on and saying hi. As I mentioned, last night I made these, and all I have on these are some little bit of olive oil and some garlic powder, salt, and a little bit of dried herbs. I think there's some oregano and some thyme on these. Okay, and so putting these in the oven, and I want to keep them like layered because that's how I'm going to be putting my steak and lamb chops on them like that, because we eat with our eyes here, and I want it to look pretty. So I'm just putting these back in the oven. As I said, I cooked these last night, but didn't have time to finish the whole meal. So I'm just gonna put them in the oven now to get heated up. Now, what we're gonna do while that is all of those things, is the last part of this meal. As I said, this is a quick, simple meal, but it's gonna taste so delicious. I'm gonna mix a kind of an herb mixture for my lamb chops, and the star of that mixture is going to be our rosemary. So I'm just going to grab a little bowl for mixing, and gonna put a little, we're gonna have to cut these up a little bit. So this is my rosemary. Okay, I'm gonna get that in here. Rosemary and lamb is just an easy, that's just an easy yes all the time. Okay, easy. It's like it does what it needs to do. And then we're going to sear our lamb. I'm gonna make a different mixture for the filet mignon. I got my steak from the supermarket, so it's probably not going to be that best piece of steak, but we're going to try it. We're going to try it. So I'm just trying to get all of I don't want any of the branches off of this, so once again trying to just get the green parts and not you don't want the branches in here. So that's what I'm doing here, just trying to get that, and then we're gonna get that thrown in the garbage, and then we're gonna mince that. I have some basil, whatever you have will work, okay? If you only wanna use one thing, go for that. You don't have to use all of them. What's cooking? Somebody fill me in, please. Damien, hey, we are cooking. We're gonna do a little run back of our appetizer from Saturday. So we're going to be doing the stuffed peppers with cottage cheese and some feta, and then I'm going to drizzle it. Instead of the sriracha honey today, I'm just going to do hot honey tonight. Just make a little difference. And then on top of that, for the main course, we are going to be doing a herb crusted lamb chops. And then I also have filet mignon, so it's whichever one the family wants. And then obviously I'm taking this to work tomorrow. But that's gonna be on a bed of sweet potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes, and avocados. And so I'm just kind of making my herb mixture here. Basically what I'm doing is just getting those nice and diced in here. So I'm making them, because I want to make it like where you can pat it onto the lamb. And so in this I have basil, thyme, and rosemary. Okay. The filet mignon I hope it's good. I got it from the supermarket. I didn't go to my butcher. And sometimes that's a hit or a miss, but we're gonna see how it is. For that, I'm not gonna have to do too much seasoning. I'm just gonna do a basic rub for that one. But this one, I wanna do a little bit. And that's all I did here. I'm gonna put this in our bowl. There we go. And then I need olive oil, salt, and pepper. So, Damien, can you give me a breakdown of what my calories and protein count will look like for this meal? And so this is basically what I'm making here is just my rub for the lamb chops. Okay, nothing too fancy, but fancy enough. I'm gonna add some garlic powder, and I'm gonna also add some onion powder. Okay, so there we go. And as I said, this is something that I feel like people think that, at home they don't have to go fancy in the middle of the week, but you can. You can absolutely go fancy. Most of the times, these things don't even take that much time to prepare. Probably takes less. I think sometimes our fancier dinners are the things that take even less. So I'm just adding garlic powder and onion powder. Okay, and now I'm just gonna get that mixed in. Okay, and there we go. This might not even be that much, but we'll make it work because I don't feel like cutting up anything anymore. I'm kind of annoyed with the fact that my network is just acting up. So we just have a couple of pieces here. So Damien, let me know how much the protein count would be for these 4 pieces. I think my husband loves lamb. I'm just gonna rinse these really quickly on the side. But my husband really loves lamb. I think I might end up with a filet mignon, and the kids might do a mixture of one or the other. Okay. So we already made our mixture for it, so I don't have to do too much. I'm just gonna try to get some of this liquid off the water so it's not as, seeping, because I want it in that pot. It's gonna be hot, hot, hot. I'm gonna use my cast iron pot to do this, including to make our thing. Now, remember last night I had some garlic that I roasted with the chicken shawarma, if you remember that. I'm gonna grab that as well to go in here. So this is what we're gonna do. We've done, this is the seasoning, okay? And so you wanna do that. I'm gonna use my hands so I can really get in there. And get it nice and basted on there. And then we're gonna switch it around and get it all on the other one. Doesn't that look delicious already? Like, ooh, girl, what you making? And now, I think I have enough, but this mixture is a winning combo every time, okay? It is a winning combo every time. So make sure both sides are nice there. Gonna make sure to get every piece in there. Okay, there we go. As I said, a winning combo every time. So if you're ever looking to something to put on the lamb, too easy. Okay. Rinse my hands. And that's it. Like, I swear, like, this is such an easy meal. Like, you really can't mess this up. So I'm gonna grab the cast iron. And then the only last part of this meal is to make my avocado smash. That will go with this. Okay. And let's check in on our peppers. And let's show you what's going on in there. So we can see they are starting, I can start smelling the peppers are coming together. So you definitely know, you can start smelling it. On top is our sweet potatoes that's just basically reheating. And you can smell the peppers in here. But this has a little bit of time to go. So we're gonna close that back up. And then we are going to head over to this section because we're going to start working on the lamb chops. Okay? Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to also do the filet mignon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get those in a pot, and then we can start working on that. And I'm going to grab, at the same time, I'm going to get our avocados going. So I'm going to be able to use these avocados that I've had for a bit, turn the pot on, and I want to get this cast iron nice and piping hot. So I'm not going to put any oil in it yet. I'm just going to let this heat up in the meanwhile. I thrifted my cast iron from the thrift store, from a Goodwill. I promise you, if you ever go into a thrift store, go to the section where they have the home decor and, you know, kitchen things. You will be surprised at how much money you will save in just trying to, in thrifting some of those very expensive things. Okay? All right. What questions do we have? So Damien is breaking down the calories for me. And so 202 in the fat, 10 grams of sodium, 66 carbs, 0 protein. That's for the lamb chops. Are you saying no grams of protein for the lamb? I'm not sure what we're saying there. Okay. They are actually keto approved. Put salt in it, let it sit a bit. It draws out the moisture. Yes, I have heard that. I've done that before. Definitely, definitely, I am being impatient tonight and a little stressed a little bit. So the brain is kind of moving faster than what I'm doing. My thoughts and stuff like that. I did the breakdown already. Are you saying no protein in my lamb, Damien? It's kind of hard to believe. We only do proteins in our food. Okay. While that is heating up, let's go ahead and work on the filet mignon. So I'm gonna just grab another small cutting board. I'm gonna open this guy up. And this one I'm not gonna do too much, right? Like filet should carry its own self, literally. So we're gonna see. Now, if you were to go to a restaurant, how much are we thinking this meal would cost? We have an appetizer with the stuffed peppers, you have lamb chop, and then you have filet mignon. How much are we thinking we're paying for this? Because I know for sure, I know for sure that a lot of people, when they go out and steak is one of the things on the menu, it is definitely not cheap, okay? So I'm just gonna put these like that. I'm gonna kind of go simple on this, to be honest with you. So only thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of olive oil. That was probably a little too much, so I'm gonna get that over there. Okay, a little bit of olive oil, and I do want to get a nice coating of salt on this. Nice coating of salt. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day or evening. I had a very long day, so I feel like my energy is kind of low tonight. So sorry if I'm not my normal peppy self. I just feel like ugh. But I'm gonna put a lot. I'm gonna definitely try to get a lot of black pepper on here. And I know for a lot of people that would be it. Salt and black pepper should be really all you need. Unfortunately, I'm not necessarily going to feel like this is the best steak, so I'm going to have to, add a little extra to this. Why did you touch the meat, then dip your hands in the bowl of salt again? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's the life of when we are working from home. Luckily, I am not working in a restaurant. Okay. Here we go. So I'm just adding a little bit of garlic powder. As I said, not gonna do too much. And then this is onion powder. But I don't know this. I got this at the market, and sometimes it's literally a hit or miss there. It is definitely a hit or miss on whether the piece is going to be amazing or if it's going to be like tough like leather. And so I'm going to add a little bit of this. It's a seasoning. No, not this one. Garlic. Oh, here it is. So this is a table blend, but it's salt free. And so I like using this one. What happened? Huh? Huh? Okay, so I like using this one. I'm gonna flip this. And now a couple of things are happening in the background. My pot for the lamb is definitely smoking. I can see it from here. Leave this to rest for a second. I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. I mean, not salt. Olive oil now and bring you guys over here for the cooking. If you have a different type of oil, olive oil tends to smoke a little more than others. So you definitely want to make sure that, you are if that's going to bother you, you can use a different oil that doesn't have such a high smoke point. But olive oil does smoke a little more than other oils. But at least I know this is piping hot. And so what I'm going to do is get that lamb put in there. So remember, the lamb has been resting a little bit. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to put those guys in here. And the there we go. And I'm not going to touch it for a little bit. I just want to get it nice and seared. So I'm just going to leave that going there. 27 grams of protein. Okay, I was not seeing that before. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so the lamb is going. Okay, and while that is going, I'm just gonna have the filet resting right here. And then the last thing to add and to do is to get a bowl, and we're gonna make our avocado that will go in here. But let's check on the sweet potato because I don't want it to burn. I'm gonna check on that in the oven and see how that's going. And obviously we have our peppers in there still, so I'm gonna check on that. Okay, sweet potatoes I'm pulling out just because those are ready to go. Put this on the side. Okay, so the sweet potatoes are done. Remember, I cooked those last night, so we don't have much to do but just to reheat those. The lamb is going on our cast iron. I'm going to put it down on medium now so it can cook a little better. I had it on high so it could get that nice crust on the outside. And now we're going to just work on getting it cooked a little bit on the inside. Inside the oven, we still have our peppers that's going. And so in a little bit, I will probably turn on the broiler just to give it that nice crust at the top. But before we do all of that, let me get a small bowl, and we're going to make our, we are going to make our avocado that we're going to put on top of the sweet potatoes. Stay with me on that one. I know you're like, what? Avocado on top? And so I'm just cutting this open so you can see what I'm doing. I do need a board. I do need a little board. And so I'm going to cut these. And I'm just going to put them in a bowl, but I'm going to be mashing them. So I'm going to, I don't know how this came out like that, but we're going to. Every time I feel like I understand how to cut avocado something, I get one that is just like, no ma'am, that is not how we do it. And it comes out like really crazy. See? Like this thing had me like massaging it now. But it's okay if it's not neat and nice because as I said, we're going to be mashing these anyway. So I'm okay with that. But there we go. This is one of the best healthy fats that you can have. If you have this in your menu and your recipes at least 2 or 3 times a week, you're doing something right. So here we go. I think I'm gonna do, let's do 2, just because we're going to be cooking for more than one person. I'm just turning the lamb a little bit here. My husband likes his stuff very well done. So I am definitely, I don't know, he may not get the filet mignon tonight because I don't want to ever cook filet mignon well done. Okay, so I'm going to go in with another avocado. This is a different kind. As you can see how much bigger this one is. Let me see if I can master this turn. Okay, that worked. And then this works. These are not the sweetest, or not sweetest. These are not the ripest, but we're gonna go with it anyway. Okay. Get a fork to mash these. And this is a great way of trying to avoid having the carb. Yeah, these are definitely not super ripe, but I'm gonna go in and get, I should have put this in the blender, but I figured I don't feel like adding another dish. The smaller one definitely was a little riper, but we're gonna work with it. We are going to work with it. There we go. I've had these, you know, for like 2 weeks, and I would think that they would be, maybe it's just a type, you know. In the Caribbean, we have avocados too, but they're definitely different types than like the Mexican Hass ones. They're like huge. And normally people eat it when it's not too ripe. Like, you know, it's not too soft. Like, I'm used to that. So I don't know if this is the same thing with this particular one that I'm saying. We normally don't eat ours like super ripe in Trinidad. Okay. And you're just mashing it up, okay? Got a piece of the seed here. Lamb also contains sodium ion. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so what we're doing is the last part of our elegant dinner that is going to include at the top of the day very high protein. We are making an appetizer that goes with this, because who says we can't have appetizers at our home and make it ourselves? And so right now I have the lamb chops. And this was a herb crusted lamb chop on here. Move this around a little bit. Okay. What do you guys think? I forgot to get my roasted garlic. Let me see if I can pop that in there still. If not, you can always use it for the filet. Give that a little extra taste if you can find it. Okay. So this is the lamb chop going, but we have some filet mignon behind me that we're going to pop in there. And then let's go ahead and take out, or look at least. I think these guys. Okay. It would be about 40 grams in this meal that you're having today. Okay, perfect. which is always the goal, right? 35 to 40 is the goal to have in these meals. Okay, I have this is just some mashed this is just some mashed avocado. We're going to go in and add a little bit of salt and black pepper. And then I'm going to have a little bit of, let me see if I have lime over there. Ain't got no gas in it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna put some lime juice. If no lime, then you can put lemon. But I just like how lime tastes better with, um, I just like how lime tastes better with avocados for some reason. It's my preference, but if you want, you can absolutely use lemon juice if that's all you have. Okay? Fresh squeeze is better. So if you have that, even better. I'm gonna have a half of lime left over from last night's meal, so I'm just gonna put this in here. There we go. This is simple, okay? Don't make this overcomplicated. Okay, that is ready. And so is my lamb chops. So we're going to plate this so you can see what that looks like. And then we're going to put on, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to put my filet mignon in there. I'm going to get a plate so that the lamb chops can rest a little bit. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like. Smells so good. So this is what our lamb chops look like. Okay, and so what I had on these is just an herb mixture, whatever herbs you have, a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder with salt and pepper. And then we put that in there, okay? Now I'm just gonna use the same pot for my filet. Even though it's gonna have the herb mixture, I'm okay with that. Like, let it go. So before that, last night I roasted some garlic. And it didn't roast all the way because I was super impatient last night. I was hungry and just wanted to finish cooking quickly. So normally these would be dark and soft. They, you know, just super soft, come out, like ooze out. And so they're not doing that. But that's okay. It's still gonna, it still smells like roasted garlic, okay? And so I'm going to use the rest of these. And I'm gonna put it in the pot before I put things. So I've lowered the heat considerably, so I don't want it to burn. And then I'm gonna see if this works in my favor. I'm gonna bring you back over. Okay, and let's see. I'm gonna add okay, I just need a little bit of oil. Not too much, just to get the garlic going, doing its thing. As I said, it's already roasted a little bit in there. And I'm gonna lay my filet down right on top of these. Okay, right on top. Okay. So it's gonna get its little own juices from the garlic in there. Let's go ahead and plate one of the dishes with the lamb chops. Girl, Dad, cooking up deliciousness. Thank you for joining. We are about to plate. I'm gonna take out two plates because we're gonna plate one with the filet and one with the lamb chops. But very similar meal anyway. And so let's get some of these things out of the way so you can see just what Lux cooking at home looks like. You know, as I said, you can do all of these things at home, eat nutritious, and enjoy your meal as though you went out to a restaurant. And so don't let anyone tell you, you know, we can't have those things. I can't tell you just how amazing this smells. Okay, so what you want to do is I'm going to do 3 pieces. I'm gonna lay 3 pieces down like that. And put the avocado on there on the top. Okay. I'm gonna give my husband 2 nice pieces. Okay. And I always like the juices that run off, like when you have the meat rest. So I'm gonna okay. And that is this meal. Okay. What do you think? Okay, so as I mentioned, on the bed, on the bottom is your sweet potatoes. As Trinity would say, zaboka choka. Yes. You're so right about that. Oh my God, I haven't heard that word in so long. And then, so sweet potatoes is just a roasted sweet potatoes, and in the middle is a guacamole mixture. All I did was salt, pepper, and a little bit of lime juice. And then your top is the, oh my gosh, I nearly forgot my, I always do this, but I forgot my appetizers in the broiler. Let me grab those before they become unusable. Thankfully, okay. Thankfully, it's a dish. Let me get used. Let me show you this. I always go in and forget my stuff in the broiler. But we're putting our appetizers on the same tray. Okay. So show you this. And so this is our stuffed sweet potatoes. Stuffed red peppers. And then I'm gonna add some spicy honey sauce on there. So we're gonna just put it in like this. Okay. And this is dinner. So appetizer and the main course on the same tray. It's okay. But if you want to be even more, fancy, we could do it on that. So let me grab the last tray and our filet mignon, I want to have it resting a little bit. So I'm going to take it off. Let me show you what this looks like. Okay, so this is we're gonna do, I like my food kind of medium done, not even, probably medium rare to be honest with you. And so this is the filet mignon. So I'm gonna go ahead and start plating the other tray, the other plate, because that's what we're doing, getting dinner ready. And I'm gonna make some little, I'm gonna show you guys how I do this again. And I say, go ahead and make sure you're plating stuff. Like we eat with our eyes, so you want things to look, like if you were to go to a restaurant and they brought it to you in some, not in a nice way, you absolutely would be looking at them like, listen. So I do the same thing at home. I like to plate the food like we were in a restaurant. I'm just gonna keep this on the side. I just want this resting a little bit before I cut into it. All right. This, I've never tried this one before, so we'll see how it tastes. But this is the hot honey. Okay. And then we're gonna go ahead and add the other parts of the meal to it. And so we're gonna be adding we're gonna be making it this way. Our sweet potato as the bed. And I cut the sweet potatoes probably a little too thin. So when you're doing yours, just, account for that. Like how thin do you want your sweet potatoes? Knowing that they're gonna lose like volume when they're roasted. Okay? So we have that. And now we're gonna add our guacamole for most people, but this is basically just, all I've done is mashed up some avocados, salt and pepper. Okay. And then of course the protein. Let me put this on the side. And then we want to probably give this more time to rest, but I'm impatient as anybody else will tell you. As I said, I like my medium, like this is exactly how I want. Oh my God, this looks so good. Okay. Obviously, you cook it to your, how you like your meat, okay? And that's dinner, okay? It is so easy. Can cook this up really quickly, obviously. You could cook your steak to what level of doneness or that you like. I like mine like almost medium rare, especially if it's the filet mignon. My husband will definitely put his stuff back on the stove if it was this red. But this is how I love it. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you could see yourself making, and any questions you may have about this meal. As I said, it's gonna be about 40, this is gonna be about 40 grams of protein. And even though it looks small, this is gonna hold me over until I eat. The next time I eat again would probably be around 9:30 tomorrow morning, okay? So this is what we have. Some filet mignon, sweet potatoes, and avocado in the middle. And then this is some stuffed, not red peppers, but stuffed sweet mini peppers with cottage cheese and a little drizzle of hot